Just like with my Sonic Adventure video, you can skip to the tutorial part by fast forwarding to the timecode currently on screen. Honestly though, setting all this up is super easy, so you may as well just enjoy the show. You know what I love about PC games? The fact that no matter how old or outdated or unsupported they are, eventually somebody will come along and make them work with current hardware. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. That 10 or 15 or even 20-year-old PC game you bought at a flea market will come back to life. Such is the case now with the PC version of Sonic R. Sonic R was the first time Sonic truly stepped into 3D on the Sega Saturn, and though it's thin on tracks, it supplements this by introducing an exploration element wherein you must explore tracks for Sonic tokens and Chaos Emeralds in order to unlock the game's handful of bonus features. Its 5 racetracks seem pretty normal at first, but often contain tons of alternate routes, shortcuts, and secret areas. It originally released on the Sega Saturn in 1997, where it was both considered a technical marvel and a somewhat rare game. 1997 was close to the end of Sega's support for the Saturn, and games like Sonic R saw a pretty limited release. It's more likely you played Sonic R on the PC, where it released in 1998 and continued to be reprinted and updated multiple times all the way through 2005. Whereas a Saturn disc for Sonic R will run you close to $60 on eBay, it's not difficult to find the PC version for around $10. Sonic R for the PC was also just a straight up better version of the game. Though it largely stuck to the game's 5 tracks and 3 modes, it blows out the draw distance, introduces a time of day system, and even variable weather that could have legitimate impact on gameplay. Regal Ruin is a track that's normally full of water, but if you happen to catch it while it's snowing, those lakes will be frozen over, allowing you to walk across their icy surfaces. The trade-off is reduced traction due to the whole level being covered in snow. The PC version even introduced LAN play, allowing users on multiple PCs to race together over a network connection. But as computer systems continued to evolve, support for Sonic R on the PC started to get a little sketchy. The late 90s was a time of great change for computer graphics, with standards rapidly evolving. Many older games supported formats and features that were quickly outdated, hurting their long-term compatibility, and Sonic R was no different. The colored lighting system pioneered on the Sega Saturn, and once available in the original PC version of Sonic R, eventually stopped working properly in later revisions of the game. The network mode was also removed as the game got re-released up into the 2000s. Other problems slowly began to creep in as well, like performance issues and the inability to hear CD music. Now, Sonic R did get a second console port on the Nintendo GameCube and the PlayStation 2, via the Sonic Gems collection in 2005. Unfortunately, this is based on the later PC version, meaning the colored lighting from the Sega Saturn version is also just as broken. It also has sound issues, like an absolutely grating ring sound effect that was carried over from that deteriorating PC port. Headphone users, I am sorry. Fortunately, a handful of modders have gone to great lengths to fix at least some of these problems, providing nearly the best of all worlds and enabling somewhat modern rendering support. And really, it's actually incredibly easy to do. All you need is a version of Sonic R for the PC, doesn't really matter which one, and the Sonic R Updater software. First, you install Sonic R. It doesn't matter where you put it or anything like that, just install it like you would any piece of software. If the installer won't run, just copy all the files off the disk and paste them into a folder of your choosing. Second, run the Sonic R Updater. It will ask you for a directory, so tell it the location that you just installed Sonic R to. For example, if you installed Sonic R to d/games/Sonic R, that's what you should input into this field here. For the purposes of this video, I installed Sonic R to the desktop, so that's where I'm telling the software to look. The Sonic R Updater will then install various mods, enabling modern HD resolutions, fixing the frame rate, restoring the original colored lighting, and installing all of the music into the game directory so that it no longer needs to play from the CD. In fact, now that you have the updated version installed, you don't even need the CD anymore, as the game won't even ask you for it. Sonic R Updater also installs the Sonic R Mod Manager. If you've seen my Sonic Adventure video, this interface should look incredibly familiar. Go over to the Graphics tab, uncheck both Windowed and Force 4:3 aspect ratio, and finally from this drop-down menu select Native to set the game to your monitor's current widescreen resolution. And honestly, that's it! After running 2 installers and setting 3 options, you can start playing Sonic R now. Though you might want one more mod that isn't included in this package, and that's to fix the awful ring sound effect I mentioned earlier. Now you have one of several options here. If all you want to do is fix the ring sound, I personally have created a gentle ring sound mod that you can download from Game Banana. All this does is replace the ring sound with a version from Sonic 2 with a filter on it so that it won't clip the audio and hurt your ears. Cheat Freak, who developed the Sonic R Updater software, also released an improved sounds mod that replaces a handful of different sounds with cleaner, clearer versions from the Genesis games. And finally, just recently, I released a mod that replaces a handful of sounds from Sonic R with their related counterparts from Sonic 3D Blast on the Sega Saturn. Sonic 3D Blast for the Saturn uses a lot of the same sound effects from the Genesis version of the game, but modernizes them a bit, and I think they sound really cool. Traveler's Tales made both Sonic 3D Blast and Sonic R, and the Saturn version of Sonic R actually recycles a few of the sound effects from that version of Sonic 3D Blast. So, in a roundabout way, this mod actually makes the PC version of Sonic R sound a tiny bit more like it does on the Saturn. It's up to you which one of these 3 that you want to use, but once you have one downloaded, extract their folder to your mods directory and make sure to enable them in the mod manager. Now you can click Save and Play and boot the game up. And I know I said you were done, but if you're using a controller, you should also probably configure your controls first. I recommend setting the action button to the A button, putting accelerate on the X button, and the L and R brake buttons on the bumpers, respectively. Sonic R has a reputation for being kinda difficult to control, but it gets a little easier once you stop thinking of Sonic as a platformer. Sure, you've got a jump button and you can hold forward on the analog stick to accelerate, but it's programmed to work a little more like a driving game. Instead of holding forward, try using the X button to accelerate, and the left stick exclusively for steering left and right. If you find yourself bouncing off walls a lot, use the L and R bumpers to make tighter turns. For example, if you're turning to the right, both hold right on the analog stick and press the right bumper. Picking Knuckles is also better for beginners than using Sonic, given Knuckles has lower acceleration but better handling overall. But really in general, there's no shame in bouncing off walls either. There's almost no speed penalty for bumping into a wall from the side, so just learn to embrace it and bounce around. It is a Sonic game after all. The only downside is that the game is still locked to 30 frames per second. This isn't the end of the world, as it plays very well at 30, but ideally all games should run as smoothly as they possibly can. So 60 frames per second or better would be ideal. That being said, I generally assume that it's nearly impossible to run Sonic R at 60 frames per second, given all of the game logic is likely hard-locked to run at 30. If that was the case, increasing the frame rate to 60 frames per second would require a complete rewrite of the code from scratch, something that is undoubtedly far beyond the scope of a simple mod. And like I said earlier, there's really nothing wrong with this game running at 30 frames per second. Anyway, if you're looking for a way to play Sonic R in 2019 and beyond, now you know how to do that. And while you're either enjoying or getting frustrated at Sonic R, don't forget to tip your waiter by visiting patreon.com/blazehedgehog and helping me out a little. From there, you can make one-time donations or sign up for rolling monthly donations, just like All-Star Cool Kids Club members like Thomas G, Gabriel M, Juan Pablo, Rose S, Dave M, Setsune, Connor F, Keith S, Lucas, Tom B, Fiesta, Ryan M, Sam B, Ryan L, Steven, Teko Kami, Logan A, Tim A, and Anders M. Monthly donors get special previews for upcoming videos, custom RSS feeds for podcasts, music archives, and secret stuff you'll only find out about if you donate. There's even free stuff too, so make sure you at least visit patreon.com/blazehedgehog to see what's going on over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video.